What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, Be Nicole Inspiring Souls. This is going to be another live Be Inspired Today message. I'm so excited. Thank y'all so much for supporting and liking and sharing. I get excited when one person likes it. I'm that person. So I've challenged myself to do a video a day while I'm out of work for spring break. So here's video number 2. And today's topic is going to be about my job promotion, which I never got to come on here and kind of give the details about how it all came about. And I thought it would be unique to share just because I don't know if I really shared how it all came about with a lot of people. So here we go. Promotion. So I was working as a coordinator and I loved my job. I loved the students that I was working with. I loved what I did. I was able to go in and provide structure for this role, and really with me providing structure, it really kind of lightened up my load. So I was able to have way more interaction and engagement with the students, which is how I kind of started creating relationships, because I would have some spare time within the day, because I had set some things up in place that would afford me the opportunity to connect with students. My church decided to do this Great Faith series, and my church has done series before, but there was something different about the Great Faith series that made me want to be committed to the process, to the series. I was so engaged. I think there were 10 statements, basically declarations that we were to kind of speak over ourselves. And y'all, I was committed. So every morning I was waking up and basically making those declarations. The Great Faith series also was requiring you to because it's all about your faith, strengthening your faith. It is really just a muscle, right? And the only way that your muscles will ever be strengthened is if you actually exercise them. So this is all about really, walking by faith and kind of going to another level with your faith. So while my church was doing this Great Faith series, Pastor Mike Todd with Transformation Church was doing a Crazy Faith series. And I was mind blown that these two churches were both doing these faith series. So when I first started the series, I had no idea what I was believing God for. My pastor, Pastor Adrian Davis, was encouraging us to write down on this card what we were believing God for. And y'all, I don't know why, but I felt so strongly that there was a major shift about to happen in my life. Now, I grew up in church. So my mom took me to church. We went to Sunday school. I grew up in church. But it was really foreign to me when I started hearing people be well, I heard the voice of God. I'm supposed to be moving here, taking this job. And so it wasn't something that I grew up hearing. So when I myself started speaking like that, it was kind of did you really? Just because it wasn't something that was familiar for me. But I felt so strongly, y'all, that a major shift was coming. So what I put on my card, y'all, what I was believing God for was a smooth transition. And I will actually put a picture of that card here. But a smooth transition, it's all I wrote, because I had no details to what this shift was, one, going to require of me. But again, we're in this faith series, so I'm just believing God has basically worked everything out for me on my behalf. Here I am, committed. I'm going to church on Sunday, getting our Great Faith series, and then probably about Wednesday of that week, I would watch the Crazy Faith series. And man, they were both so good. And it was really crazy because, again, the only thing that I knew to believe God for was just the smooth transition. And I was Brittany, I don't really know what that means, because you're, you know, pretty content with like your portion, and you're very grateful. So I have no idea what's going to transpire. So the series itself is about to come to a close, because this was like maybe a 6 to 8 week series. So it's about to end. And really, I mean, I continued to sow and the Lord continued to provide. But as far as like what I had written on my card, I had not actually seen any fruit come from it. And then on my job, the position itself, y'all, had been vacant for over a year. So when I actually took the job in that department, that position was open already. Someone came up to me and asked me, was I interested in that position? Well, the answer was no. And it was no for so many reasons. I think it was no because I knew that position required you to have a master's. It was a no because I knew that position was going to require more of me, meaning like me to be more committed and invested and more than what I already was. So it was, you know, no for so many reasons. I had 3 people come, ask me was I interested in the job, and I tell them no because the answer was no. For whatever reason, which I don't know, but they continue like pushing the idea that like they think they have somebody for this position. Like I was hearing this conversation in meetings, and I was like, well, that's so good because I wanted them to fill the position for sure. I just didn't think the person to fill it, you know, was me. And again, I'm very confident in myself and my abilities and what it is that I bring to the table, but I just didn't think that I had what it would take to be successful in that role. And I don't know if that's because I didn't have my master's, and so I just kind of, you know, cut myself out of the pool from that point. I've told these 3 people no, and y'all, they continue to like push it. So like I'm hearing in meetings, we're working on it, you know, the person will be able to start, you know, here sooner or later. I'm like, this is all great. Not knowing that the person that they're hoping is gonna start is me. I'm like, Lord, I don't really know what they're doing on their end, but like, I just want you to know that like my trust is in you. My hope is in you. And I believe that the door that you desire for me to walk in, Lord, will be open. And the door that you desire for me to not entertain will close. Okay, so I'm praying that, I'm believing that, and I'm still stating those declarations and believing wholeheartedly that like, you know, God's plan is gonna happen whether I'm like on board with it or not. So the craziest thing happened. I felt the urge to get on Indeed.com because again, my idea of major shift was I was about to move. And it's so crazy, y'all, because at this time, like I was in I was subleasing a place. So it was like perfect. Like literally I felt like the Lord had set me up for this grand move. So I'm like, everything that happened in my life was like, oh, this would make sense for me not to have renewed my lease somewhere, for me not to have, you know, signed a new contract. The opportunity presents itself, I can move and I won't be tied to anyone, any apartment, anything. So most of my stuff was in storage. So I'm literally like so unsure. But I'm thinking like it's a move. So I got the urge to go on Indeed.com, and y'all, I see this bomb marketing job for the city of Huntsville. Okay, mind blowing. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, and I had not been on Indeed.com. I had not applied for any jobs, but I get on there. I see this job. It's for the city of Huntsville. I think it was like a social media like coordinator, director for the mayor, and I was like, oh my goodness. This is like the job. Like, I have to apply. So I go and tweak my resume and update my resume for this position, the position in Huntsville. Now, do all of that, upgrade, you know, and I'm like, okay, perfect. I applied for that job in Huntsville. That's the only job that I had applied for during this great faith, crazy faith season of my life. Then a person who had came to me about the job at UA came back to me and was like, you know, here's the offer. right? They're like presenting the full offer to me, and they're like, hey, if you're interested, we kind of need to know because we're trying to, put some things in place, and we would need for you to, we kind of need to have a decision made by this date. So it was like, and if so, I'm going to need your resume. Now I'm going back to the Lord, and I'm like, okay, Lord, like, I didn't pray this thing through, and I don't understand, because I see the door over here that you're trying to open, but they keep keeping this door wide open. And I was like, the two are just not lining up. So I'm like, Lord, do you want me to take this position? So I am like really trying to like figure out, okay, just breathe a little, okay? Just slow down, breathe a little. Let's figure this thing out. So literally they come, they present the offer. And I'm like, man, great offer. This is a wonderful opportunity. And they were willing to, or not willing, they removed the master's requirement so that I would meet the qualifications. Okay, so, okay, that part blew my mind. So then it was like, okay, they've offered me this portion. Now this is around the same time that we had just gotten this like, university-wide, percentage increase, which I'm always grateful for an increase. Now, when they presented me with the offer, I was like, okay, I go back to the Lord, and I said, Lord, if this is like your will for me to take this job, I've done the math, I crunched some numbers, and I think they're a little short in what they're offering compared to this percentage increase that we just got. So I was like, I don't want to sound ungrateful by having to go back to them and say, hey, blah, 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 because it was such a large jump from what I was already making. So I didn't want to be like, you're going to meet my demands, because I didn't have any demands. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am minding my own business. I love what I do. I want to keep doing what I do. Y'all, before I never said anything to anybody. And again, y'all, this whole time that I'm going through this little phase, the only person I'm talking to is the Lord. I don't tell family about this. I don't tell friends. Like, it's literally just me and the Lord, because I feel like this was major. And I didn't want any distractions or anyone trying to tell me what they would do, because then that would pull me out of the will of the Father, which I always want to remain in his will, because that's where there is protection and there's peace. Literally, y'all, I don't say anything. When they come back to me, like with the contract to sign, the salary had increased. Y'all, I only told God. Literally, I only went to the Lord about it, and the salary had increased. And that, on top of several other things, was like, okay, I'm not crazy. This is all, like, this is a God thing. And let me just tell you, I have loved every minute of this role and what I do. I think it's honestly giving me, that much more, I think, confidence about me as a professional. I believe that there's something unique about the way that I am able to interact with students, and it's what makes a difference in my role and in the students who I'm able to advise or work with directly. Here I am. I've been in this role now since, I think on paper it was official like November, but since January I've been doing this role like full time. And it's everything that I thought it was going to be. It's way more work. I have to be way more invested. It's more time. It's everything that I thought it would be. But it's also like such a joy that I get to do this. And I just love that God has given me the opportunity to do so. I guess my words of inspiration would be, don't knock yourself out of something because you have deemed yourself is unqualified. I believe that Lord equips us when we choose to trust him wholeheartedly, and he will literally give us the tools that we need to be successful. And the reason that he does it is so that we will continue to remember our foundation. So I think that the smooth transition that I was praying and believing God for during the Great Faith series played itself out just as God saw fit for it to. The major shift that I was believing was going to take place happened. It was something major. So I'm just super grateful, and I can't believe, I think every day I go to work and I'm like, man, like this is my job. This is what I get to do for a living. I love it, and I'm so passionate about it, and I'm so just thankful, grateful, I think even humbled at the fact that God sees fit to use me in spite of me. So don't ever I think close a door that it's so evident that God has opened just for you.